morning. Thank you for joining us with Coffee with Casper. We're trusting we're broadcasting on both pages. We had it fixed. We don't know if Facebook keep making changes. And there we are. We're up on Facebook. We're happening. It's live. It's 8:30 in the morning, just like that. It's Coffee with Casper. Good to see you this morning. Now remember, we are broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook, but I can see your comments on Facebook, so let me know you're there, and let's get ready to roll. Here we go. Taking a deep breath in. Letting that breath rise up into your heart center, inviting your shoulders to relax and your body to let go. And we're just going to spend this 20 minutes together. And welcome from North Carolina. Welcome. Good to see you from Las Vegas this morning. Where else are we coming in from? Good morning from the Pasadena zone into the mountains of Pasadena. Good to see you all this morning. We're glad you're here. So this is Coffee with Casper. I believe this is episode number 47. So we're heading into almost a year's worth of these broadcasts. We're going to continue on, and we trust that you are getting benefit from our time together. What I'm going to talk about today, we sort of talked about last week, but we were kind of distracted by the technical issues that we were having, and so I really thought it was worthwhile to bring this up again, because what's happening in our time, and we've discussed this before, is that each one of us is born in wholeness. That wholeness in spiritual terms is universally known as Christ consciousness. Because we have a confusion around religions and world religions, we think that belongs to a particular religion or tradition. That's why it's also known as the I am consciousness. It's also known as Buddha awareness. It's also known as the Atman from the most ancient religion, which is Hinduism. And all of it is about the fact that the living presence itself, the intelligence that is the life force itself, that is source itself, that is the one thing itself. Energy and matter are equal and interchangeable, and therefore the one thing is, the best word we have for that one thing is God. But it's source. It's the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, and everything in between. And so everything is part of this unified field, this oneness that is everywhere present, which is responding to itself. But the challenge is that this oneness is self-conscious. It is aware of its beingness. And in the human condition here on planet Earth, we, humans, we are the ones who are aware of our beingness. And that self-consciousness creates creates the movement of what moves energy. The observer affects the experiment. So we'd say that which is source itself, observing itself, affects what is happening, and then that self-consciousness within it, which would include you and me, is observing itself and affecting what's happening. So again, the more conscious we are of the life force that's in us, the more conscious we are of the vibration that's coming from us, the greater good, or that good which matches our intention, will begin to show up. The good that matches our intention. So that's really what we want to talk about today. Intention is not something that's passive, it's something that's active. And it's the way that you interact with Source. Because as you are drawing forth your intentions and then realizing, becoming conscious of your intentions being brought forth, then the reality of where the rubber meets the road, where your life is happening right now, that's the feedback loop. That's how you and the divine are communicating, not just through the five senses, but through your intuitive senses as well. So from the inside out, we become more and more aware of our relationship to the divine and how it is actually working with us to fulfill our intentions. Meaning, what are you planning to be? So let me go into the broad sense of intentions. As you know, I've been a spiritual teacher for more than 40 some odd years. And there's an intention in that. The intention is to help the world wake up, to help the world understand that we do not need to be bounced around by circumstances and the flailing of our own emotions, swinging this way and that way. We, in fact, can attract into our experience, what they call the law of attraction. We can attract into our experience that which we are intending. And of course, that would require that we become conscious of what we are intending, yes? So let's look at the big phase, because, we look at health, wealth, love, and purpose. And if we started the other way around, if we started with purpose, and say, well, what is it that I came here to do? Here on this show, most of us are conscious of the fact that we are born in the light, as the light. We come from the light, and we came with an intention to bring benefit to the light, to bring more light, to bring benefit to the human condition. Casper, do not dig. Casper! To bring benefit to he's starting to dig behind me there. To bring benefit to the human condition, to bring benefit to the earth, that we incarnated, we put on this coat of skins to work in the light, as the light, and with the light, yes? And we become conscious of that by means of our intentions. So let's look at the general, sort of big general ones. I came to comfortably live my life and fulfill my purpose, to enjoy what it is to be fully alive and to fulfill my purpose. I came to be a beneficial presence. I came to be an instrument of love and the place of love and the experience of love. I came that I would know who I am and my relationship to the whole, that I would know all of those that I love and that they would know me. So we begin to, and then we say, I have an intention to create an abundance consciousness, that good and more good is mine. Everywhere I look, I see this good, I feel it, I make more room for it, I allow it to expand and multiply around me, because I am born in the one, as the one, for the one. The one is good, there can be no limit to that good. So I set up an intention to have an abundance consciousness, not just an abundance of material things, but an abundance of love, an abundance of gratitude, an abundance of joy, an abundance of the newness, of the freshness of life, of all that can continue to happen as we continue to keep our dreams and our intentions alive in our consciousness. And intentions is not something that we hold passively, it's something that we do actively. So again, we're going to pause a minute now, allow ourselves to take a breath, to our heart center to be full, and just align with some of those things I mentioned. Do you choose to be a beneficial presence? Do you choose to be a place of love? Do you choose to be a place of joy and happiness? Do you choose to be a place where you are refreshed by the vitality of life that's all around us? Have some grandchildren, you'll see vitality of life is all around you. Have a puppy, and you'll see vitality of life is all around you. Right? We begin to, so our job, then if we say, if I choose to comfortably live my life and fulfill my purpose, and I'm not sure what the purpose is, well, that brings us to the light upon our foot. I shall be a light upon your feet, right? I shall be a light upon your feet. In the olden days, before electricity, the only way to move at night, they invented lights that went on your candles that were protected by the wind, and they went on your foot. They were called footlights. And you could take a step with that footlight and you could see where your foot was going to land, yes? And you couldn't see where you're going because it was too dark, but you could see where you're going to put your foot, the next step. And that's what that meaning, the metaphorical meaning of a light unto your feet, meaning I will show you where to put your foot so that you're heading to something called fulfillment. You don't really know what fulfillment looks like, because when we know when we first think fulfillment is about a new car or a new boat or a new suit or a new watch or a new house or a new airplane, or it doesn't matter what the toy is in the material world. When you go to fulfill yourself with material things, you find what Peggy Lee wrote about in that song many, many years ago. Is that all there is? In other words, you get a new car and pretty soon you drive it and it's not a new car anymore, and that fulfillment that was so exciting just turns into a car. This is true over anything. You saw one day I wanted an Armani suit, and then you put on the Armani suit and you think it looks great on you, and then Armani suits aren't the big thing anymore. And then so whatever it is that you wanted a Rolex watch, and you realize, well, the Rolex watch is very nice, but it keeps the same good time as a Timex does. None of these physical material things are going to ultimately be fulfilling, because the fulfillment you want, abundance consciousness, is fulfilling because it constantly shows you the richness of life, that your abundance consciousness attracts this goodness to you, and you can constantly see the richness of life revealing itself to you. That's something that's a state of consciousness that's constantly in flux. It didn't arrive somewhere. And this thing called purpose is something that you don't also arrive at it. It's the same thing. You may not even know when you've arrived in your purpose or when you're fulfilling your purpose. But if you're holding your intentions, and this is the point of today's Coffee with Casper, and we should consciously be aware of what it is we are intending. What are we intending in health, in wealth, in love, and in fulfillment of purpose? And we hold those intentions like a chalice, and we're conscious of that chalice that we're holding. And then as we're holding those intentions in this chalice of our consciousness, when circumstance reveals to us things that match our intention or point in a direction that matches our intention, we know then to pay attention to that vibration that allows us to expand and move in that direction, take a step in that direction. I'll give you an example. The other day I was waiting for fuel, and I was first in line to fuel, and some younger gentleman pulls up in front and says, "Do you mind if I go first?" And I was kind of a little surprised, and I wasn't particularly in a hurry, and I said, "No, I don't mind." But I noticed that it caused something within me to be uneasy. And I wasn't clear what that was. So I entered a conversation with the gentleman who I had already given permission to fuel in front of me. And I said, "Why is it that you thought you should go first?" And he said, "Oh, well, I thought you were going to buy hundreds of gallons worth of fuel." I said, "No, I was just going to put $75 in. And how much are you putting in?" He said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm putting in about the same amount of fuel." I said, "Okay, well, no big deal. I'm not in a rush. I was just sort of curious." But did you see, by entering into that conversation, instead of leaving my intention, which is to allow good and to share the good and allow it to flow through me and to expect and accept my good as it's coming forth, and I was there first, so well, that seemed fair. And so when this sort of vibrational confusion happened within me, I entered into the conversation with this gentleman. And when he did that, he's a young father. His wife wanted him to get home. He was in a hurry. I was not in a hurry. And then the conversation became very friendly, and our well wishes for each other were established and clear. And so when he left the dock and he says, "Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the confusion. You guys have a great weekend, blah, blah, blah." And so this is why, when we know what we're intending, we can use this compass, this internal compass that we all have, if we're holding the chalice of our intentions consciously. Was I intending to do that? And then a circumstance shows up in our lives that gives us the opportunity to follow that intention, and then we follow it and we feel clarified, we feel clear. And that's the way we can live our lives every day. That we are all built with this wonderful sort of honing device that will guide us toward the fulfillment of our intention. Is that making sense? We become aware of our intention, and then this mechanism of life, remember the magic of life is that it's responding to the sum total of your awareness all the time and creating in 3D reality that which matches your awareness. But when we're holding our awareness toward this deeper value of fulfillment and purpose, we then can be steered by the circumstance to move in the direction of our own intention and therefore our own fulfillment. And this is the process through which, without having a big essay about my purpose is and writing it all out and trying to define it, this purpose called fulfillment is something greater than even your best imagination. This thing called the fulfillment of your purpose is greater than even your best imagination. Let me know where you're viewing from this morning. I loved having you check in with me. Good morning from Arizona. Good morning from Idaho. Nice to see you guys all here. So, what are you intending? And are you consciously holding those intentions as the affirmations that are flowing through your mind, as that which you enter into your affirmative prayer with, that you and the divine partner toward the fulfillment of these intentions? And these intentions are loaded with the love of life, loaded with the love of the one, loaded with the love of the self. And that's why Jesus, the great master teacher, said it is the Father's, meaning the Father, Mother's, the Creator's intention to have you be fulfilled, because the Creator itself is fulfilled. And why would it create its image and not have it be fulfilled? And it does, and it is. And you and I are part of that. So we want to remind you that Coffee with Casper is just a place for you to focus on your own well-being. Focus on what you're intending. Focus on where you would like things to get better. And begin to consciously ask and affirm that these things are right and good, that you're having them, being them, expressing them, living through them is right and good. One of the things after this pandemic year, my wife and I, are planning on taking all of the children and grandchildren on a grand adventure. We don't know where that grand adventure will be. We don't know whether it's going to be Hawaii or Mexico or Europe. We don't know where the grand adventure will be yet, but we have this intention to have all of us have a thrilling and wonderful, memorable experience together in travel, right? So we simply are holding that intention and keep looking for the great opportunities where now school's coming back. Some of the kids are in school, so we have to time it around school and vacations. We have to get all three families to have an agreement that this is the time that we'll go. Then we have to get everybody to find where they're really attracted to go. But the holding of that intention isn't something that's passive. It's active until it's actually fulfilled, and all the way through the fulfillment process of it. You're going to intend that each day and each moment and each experience be filled with love and joy and laughter and beauty and memories that are special and meaningful to each and all who are there. You see, even if it's something like a trip, it's not like you have the intention and let it go. You have to hold the intention and then move in the direction of it. So these spiritual principles that we talk about every week on Coffee with Casper, they're designed to heal, uplift, and inspire, and to bring forth more life. That's my intention, to heal, uplift, inspire, and bring forth more life. And it's not a passive intention, it's an active intention. And I have to constantly turn in the direction of what's going to allow me to be an instrument and avenue through which that will happen. But I'm being guided by the reality of the 3D feedback of life saying, oh, the higher my vibration, the greater my intention is clear to me, the easier it is for me to follow that intention to this mystical and magical place called fulfillment. a life lived in purpose, fulfilled. You deserve that. I deserve that. We are the light workers in the world. We're becoming more and more conscious of our role as light workers in the world, and we're sharing that light with the world. So wherever you are, if something meaningful has happened for you today, if this is helpful for you, practice it this week. If it's helpful, share the video. Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, share it on YouTube, share it whatever networks you're involved in, and let's just keep spreading the light and lifting up the vibration all around us, therefore bringing more light, more love, more joy, more wisdom, more peace, more beauty into our own experience and into the experience of all of those who touch the arena of our lives. Thank you for being a light worker. Thank you for sharing in Coffee That's Casper with me this morning. We will look forward to seeing you next week. And come on up again, Casper. And until we meet again, we invite you to go in the light, as the light, and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Bye for now.